You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Sports. We're going to talk about LaChina James. LaChina James, LeBron James, LaWoke James, LeBron James, LaChoke James, LaFraud James. Well, you remember last week everybody was celebrating. The media was celebrating Space Jam 2. The search for those Chinese dollars. Because it was number one at the box office. And of course, as we always do here, we got to check the media by acknowledging the fact that it took a epic, never-before-seen collapse from a Marvel MCU film so that Space Jam could sneak into the number one spot. Well, it just so happens that said Marvel movie came back and beat the crap out of LaChina James's movie in its second week. Why? Because Space Jam 2, The Search for Chinese Dollars, suffered a massive decline at the box office. And I mean, it was a stinker. To give you some kind of idea what its competition was, M. Night Shyamalan came out with a new movie. I mean, who knew that? And it was the number one movie in the country, for crying out loud. Well, guys, in case you're wondering, we found out that Space Jam 2 was not, I guess LeBron got lost in his search for Chinese dollars because it will not get that coveted Chinese release. So it officially locked into place the fact that LeBron James's movie is going to bomb. In fact, this movie may end up losing like $100 million by the time it's all said and done. Not that we're celebrating that, but we are celebrating that, you anti-American a-hole. So, it's going to lose about $100 million, and it had a massive, epic collapse over the weekend. So, let's get into that, because, hey, it is what it is. Perhaps almost as surprising as Shyamalan. Third act is the outright collapse of, and I don't want to talk to you guys about all the movies on here. We're just focusing on Space Jam. Is the outright collapse of Space Jam: A New Legacy. The live-action animated sports comedy featuring LaChina James fell to fourth place with a $9.5 million rake-in its sophomore outing, marking a brutal 69% decline from its $31 million opening weekend. The sequel was tracking to make $15 to $18 million between Friday and Sunday, which would have been standard 45 to 50% drop for a family film. Films geared towards family audiences like Space Jam has been holding exceptionally well during the pandemic. But its hybrid release, and you got to be careful with this, they're trying to cover for LeBron right now. But its hybrid release on HBO Max, along with mediocre reviews. Mediocre reviews? Is that what we're going with? Hold on, guys. Let's just do this. Space Jam 2, Rotten Tomatoes, 29%, and that's from the woke critics. And once again, we see, we got to acknowledge all the wokesters that showed up on the audience score and then flooded the review site on there. So, So anyway, the point being, let's get back to this. Okay, along with horrible reviews, likely cut into its ticket sales, Space Jam came in behind the Scarlett Johansson-led Marvel adventure Black Widow. I still haven't seen it, okay? Now it's in its third weekend. It added $11.6 million from its 4,250 locations, bringing its domestic tally to $154 million. Okay, so, and just to see how this looks, there's Space Jam, there's Black Widow. So Space Jam has made $54.3 million, and I can tell you without that Chinese release, this film is going to massively bomb. Because look, China alone would have probably made this film $100 million. It had a $150 million budget. This film's not turning a profit. And what's even more glorious about this, we got to remember, this is being made by LeBron James's, it's put out by Warner Brothers, but it was in part with LeBron James's Spring Hill production company. Yeah. So his Spring Hill production company stands to lose a substantial amount of money from this film. Now, I did this story over on Black and White Entertainment. Nike is in negotiations, as you could expect, to cover LeBron's butt, right? So they're talking about giving LeBron $750 million for that production company that's done basically nothing. I mean, basically nothing. But when you're the spokesperson for China, and Nike's in bed with China, we've talked about all this, how these moving parts work. That is exactly what happens. Somehow you can fail upward as long as you're shilling China and you're related to the NBA. But it's very funny. LeBron James's movie plummeted in its second week of release. And it will not make its money back. It will bomb. It will be a official stinker, as Bugs Bunny would say. Ain't it a stinker? Yes. Space Jam 2, The Search for Chinese Dollars, is in fact a stinker. Better be careful who you're acting with these days, Bugs. And whoever's doing your animation, they suck. Peace. I'm out. Till next.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.